Why?
Because it's stationary. Just those arrows
You
right
hit
there.
it. Yeah. Tell me when anybody starts popping in.
Oh, you got one.
Oh, you got one? Hey guys, before I get started, can everybody hear me a little better this time? Anybody respond? Can someone let me know if they can hear me a little better this time?
No, there's only 9 people there.
Can anybody hear me?
Oh, loud and clear.
Alrighty.
It just started to go up.
We'll get started here in a minute once we let a few more people roll in. Woohoo!
Yeah. Staying there, though.
Everybody wants to see me before they eat dinner with their loved ones. Once I get rolling with this, guys, I'm going to kind of go at it a little quick. A lot of explanation of like what I'm using, and then the tie-up process will kind of go quickly. So I'm going to give it kind of a minute here. Again, if everybody can hear me a little better, we're doing this in a different location this time. Hoping it works out a little bit better.
37.
Huh?
37 people. Going up.
Kind of want to wait for everybody to get in here. Anybody saying anything?
No, they're just saying that they can hear you and stuff. Not much. So.
I think I got a little better connection this time and sound, so hopefully it'll pan out a little bit better. All right, about another 20 seconds and I'm going to get going here. I'd hate to start out late. I'd like to wait until like 6:05, but I think half of you'll probably get pissed and leave, so we're going to get going here in just a second.
Just staying at 52.
All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get going here. Thanks for joining me tonight. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you all how I rig the Brad's super baits, mini cut plugs, the 3.0s, and also the new 2.25 inch KCPs or Kokanee cut plugs. You know, throughout the years of using the mini cuts, a lot of people have complained saying, well, they're too big, they're too big. Well, we proved that they're not, and they catch fish in every body of water that holds kokanee, big or small. But enough people had the concerns over the size, so Brad's came out with the new 2.25 inch kokanee cut plugs, which I have fished for one whole season, everything from kokanee, sockeye, spring, summer, and fall chinook, and caught everything on them. So we're going to get started here with the mini cut, the 3.0 inch. I picked up these down at the Portland Sportsman Show. A color I have not used yet, but it's the Team Dusky #1. Sure wish I would have had these the last couple of years. That's a great color combination. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys, is the drilling process. So Brad's has the single hole in these 3.0 cut plugs, which spin fine. It's a little bit of a slower roll. So what I like to do is drill mine, and a lot of people have heard that term but don't really know what we're talking about or where. So I'm going to do it to one of them tonight to show you guys kind of what we're talking about when we say drill a super bait. You'll get a lot tighter and faster spin if you drill these than if you ran it through the normal hole. And I'll show you why a little bit later. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drill this. What you want to do is you want to start in the original hole out the front of the mini cut plug. Okay, but where you're exiting is about halfway between the original hole, and the back. So where your drill's going to go through out here, when I aim it up, is from the original hole out front, and you're going to angle towards the top of the hook garage, just like that right there. Okay, right through, just at an angle. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. My battery's a little wore down because somebody didn't plug it in after using it, but I'm going to try to get through at least one of these for y'all. Okay, so again, I'm starting in the front, in the original hole, and I'm going to angle it towards the top of the hook garage. Haha, got through barely. Barely had enough juice. So, you can see now, and you can scrape off some of those rough edges, but you can see now where that hole is. Now I'm going to show you later why that's important and kind of a cool little aspect of that, but it'll spin a lot faster that way and get a lot tighter spin as well. So that's something that I like to do to all my cut plugs for Kings or Chinook and the mini cut plugs as well. So now we're going to go ahead and get to the leader. Now that that's drilled out, I'll leave that sitting here so we can see it. Now, component-wise, what I'm going to use is Gamakatsu octopus hooks in size 4. I'm going to run pink and red. Sometimes I do better on just the 2 red, but for contrast, I like to switch them up with 1 pink and 1 red. For beads, I'm going to use the Radical Glow UV beads in a 5mm. Folks ask me all the time why I like the Radical Glow beads. I could show you here with a black light. These beads absolutely pop. So that right there is why I like the Radical Glow beads. They're just absolutely crazy with the amount of UV. Okay? So those are going to be the beads that I use. The 2 bigger beads here are like about a 7mm bead. And that will go for the top bead of the hook garage so that your leader doesn't slip through. For leader, I'm using 15-pound P-line Fluoro Clear. Some folks like straight monofilament. Some folks like fluorocarbon. Personally, I like the Fluoro Clear. For one, you get still a little bit of the stretch, and it's not near as brittle, so you don't have to worry near as much about just getting a small nick in it and breaking it. You'll also wonder, why 15-pound test line? I like to use a heavier leader. You get better transferred action from your dodger to your lure with the heavier leader. By no means do we need a heavy leader. Most of the fish aren't going to be big enough to break that size of line. But it's all about the action that it entails. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on this first one. So I'm going to tear off a mighty long chunk of line. You're going to see why. And again, I know that a lot of other folks rig these up. A lot of folks have a lot of success. This is just the way I do them. So, like knot-wise and all that, don't even ask which knot. I don't know the names. I just know they're the knots I use all the time. So basically, I like to run egg loop knots on all my hooks. I just feel that it's super strong, and I never do break them off. I'm not going to do a lot of explanation on the knots. Most of you know how to tie your own knots onto hooks. So I'm just going to tie them on there real quick so I can get going. And again, if you have any questions, please wait till the end. Okay, so getting the first hook on there. Already got a small tag. Okay, now with the second hook, I like to run mine super close together. And when I say super close, you'll see what I mean by it is is elbow to eye. So the elbow of the hook to the eye of the back hook. And I also like to flip my hooks as best as I can. Okay, so you're going to see there, they're in opposite directions and super close together. Sometimes they'll turn over a little bit anyway. I just try to get it as much as I can. All right, going to go ahead and pull it tight here. So now I got the basic leader tied. See, they still flip over a little bit, but what it is my hands. So right there. There's just your straight up leader. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run my beads down the leader with the mini cut plug, the 3.0. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run 8 of the 5mm beads, and then 1 of like, it's about a 7mm, I would think. I don't know. It's a bigger bead. So, and what I do with these, if you can see the beads here, I've got purple, orange, and pink UV beads. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate which ones I use. Again, it's all about contrast, and it really doesn't matter which colors you do first. But I always like to rotate the colors. Boy, my eyes are about failing me on this one. About time for some reading glasses. There's 3. Let me get 5 more on here. Fat fingers and bad eyes make for a great hook tying, leader tying, I'll tell you that. So there's 6. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more, another orange and another pink. Okay, so there you go. There's your 8 5mm Radical Glow UV beads. And then I'm going to throw on the 1 7mm bigger pink bead to stop it in the hook garage. So, people will ask, well, can you put beads between the hooks? You can. I don't like to. I like to just keep my hooks bare back there just so you got the hooks and then your corn or those fake horrible Berkeley maggot thingies, so they can focus on that, not the beads. Also, you can also use tubing here if you like and go from bead to a section of tubing and then your larger bead. But again, I like all those UV beads on there. I don't worry as much about chafing of the hooks like I would for Chinook, whereas I always use tubing for that. So, you come up here real quick, I'll show you the difference between the hole that I drilled and the original hole and why I do it. So we'll see if this will play nice and actually be a good demonstration for you. So first I'm going to put it through the original hole that these 3.0s come from Brad's. Okay, so with the line all the way through there you go. You see how it kind of sticks? It doesn't slide freely down the line. So the reason for that is it's got a small crook in it coming out the original hole. Now, if you pull this back out and run it through the hole I drilled it through, it free falls to the bottom. So that kind of shows you why, you know, what's so good about re-drilling that hole is because it's going to spin a lot more free. It's not going to hang up in there. So you're also going to see here, that's where my hooks run on this bait. The hooks are not up underneath the bait. The eye of the top hook is at the back of the tail. Okay? So that's important. I do not like my hooks at all up inside the bait like this, or especially up at the hook garage. You want the super bait to be up in front of your hooks and your bait. Okay? So that right there. Then what I do is I measure it out. Again, most baits that we run for kokanee are, you know, I would say 2 times to 2.5 times dodger length. Something like a billfish squid or any kind of spoon, I would go like 3 times dodger length, maybe even a little more. Super baits, and the guy that really got me running them a lot, which was Hollywood Fletcher, he always told me 36 inches, and that's just where he kind of started with. So can you run them shorter? I'm sure you can. Could you run them longer or with no dodger at all? I'm sure you could. Personally, I still stick with what Scott taught me at the beginning, and that's 36-inch leader. So I go a little bit past her so I can tie it on my swivel. And then I would go ahead and tie it onto my dodger. Okay? So that would be a 36-inch leader to the head of my bait. Okay? So, now instead of making you guys all painfully sit through me tying another leader, what I'll do is I'll just pull this one off. Now with the 2.25, moving on to those. What we got there is the new baits, of course. You don't need as many beads. You go with 7 5mm radical glow beads, again in alternating colors. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and drill one of these. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have to drill them. Brad's put in the new hole for us. So we do not have to drill the new 2.25 Kokanee cut plugs. The hole that I drilled in the 3.0 is already there. So once again, Brad's listened to us and did what we wanted to allow for that quicker spin. So again, I've got the 7 Radical Glow 5mm beads right above the same leader. Everything's the exact same on here except for a couple less beads. Oh, and the 5mm bead will stop in the hook garage of the 2.25, so you don't have to worry about it pulling through. So again, run it through the hole on the top. There you go. And if you see the hooks, once again, the eye of the hook is right at the back of the super bait. This color, by the way, is called the Hollywood. It's a new one. Half orange, half pink, both fluorescent colors. Looks absolutely dynamite. We crushed on these last year. So, again, a lot of people will rig these differently. They'll drill holes in the back. I know Dean Phillips does phenomenally well drilling a hole in the back of these. Some people drill their holes separately. There's tons of ways to rig these. This is just the way I do it. You can always experiment and try it a different way, but this is the way that I like to do it. And again, so this is the 2.25. Comes with the drilled hole that we normally had to drill in the other cut plugs. It's already on there. Okay, so that right there. Again, I'll run this one again on a 36-inch leader. Never had to change it. I've just always done good on the 36-inch leader. As for dodgers, I know that everybody has their favorites. I'm not going to get into a big promotional piston match about dodgers. I like the teardrop ones because I can change them, change the action with a quick bend. But I usually run a smaller dodger with these. I've tried with the 5.5-inch dodgers. I seem to do a little bit better with the smaller one. Why, I have no idea, because normally I always run 5.5 inch Dodgers. These 4 1/4 inch Dodgers seem to do a lot better with the super baits. I've also done really well tying 2 of the 4 1/4 inch Dodgers like 8 inches apart, and then running the super bait 36 inches back. And I think the Kokanee kind of think of it as a school, so they're more apt to chase it. Okay, so again, either the 3.0 or the 2.25, both of them on a 36 inch leader. Okay, the 2.25 has 7 5mm beads, 2 number 4 or size 4 Gamakatsu octopus hooks right off the back, rigged up in what I call the fast spin hole, so it's higher up. Okay, and there are guys that run it through the original hole and do darn well. Okay, so that's just a little recap on that one. On the 3.0 mini cut plug. And now, folks, don't get me wrong, I'm super excited about the 2.25s, and I'm going to run them a lot because I do love them and I caught a lot of fish on them, but I am not going to retire the 3.0s. They've been entirely too good the last, 4 years of me running them to just retire them all together and put them away. I will still run both on my boat. If you had to buy only one, I would wait for the 2.25. I think it catches a little more numbers of fish, whereas the 3.0 usually will catch your bigger fish. So again, a little recap on the 3.0. I added another bead, so now you've got 8 5mm beads and one that's about 7mm or so. Again, I'm a bad kid. I didn't look at that number before I took them out of the pack. Right off the back of the bait, through the hook garage, and through the hole that you drilled yourself on the top of the super bait. All right, on a 15-pound P-line fluoro clear leader, 36 inches a leader, tied to a swivel, and then attached to your Dodger. So that is pretty much my rundown of what I have. That's how I rig my super baits. I did talk to the people in the know at Brad's today. The 2.25s, they will be out between mid to late March. I know they're working super hard to get them out to all of us Kokanee addict folks as soon as they can. I'm still working on getting the list out to you so that folks will know where to hit them first as soon as they get in. I'm trying to stay in good contact with the folks at Brad so we can get that taken care of. So people aren't just running around chasing something that ain't at certain stores. They'll know exactly where to go. Try to think here. I'd like to throw a shout out to the Eastern Washington Fishing Forum for allowing me to promote this little instructional video. Brandon does a super good job over there on that page, and it helps out a lot. You know, I'm just out here trying to teach folks maybe how to catch a few more fish, or maybe to just, you know, polish their game a little bit. Also, Northwest Kokanee Addicts. You can swing by there. Tons of good information on there. Tons of people willing to help you out on your home waters. If you get a chance, swing by there as well. Another little bit of news. I think right now I'm sitting at like 63,500 likes. Once I get to 7,000, I'll be giving away another free trip this year. Might seem like a lot, another 650 likes, but with over 6,000 followers now, that's not too many. So keep inviting your friends and such, and once we get there, I'll be doing another free trip giveaway. And keep your eyes out for other free giveaways from my sponsors in the days to come. So anyway, I'll open it up to questions. If anybody has any, please feel free to ask away. And my sidekick Tyler here, the retired bait boy, he will answer, or he will actually tell me the questions and I'll answer. But anyway, yeah, go ahead. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
What do you stuff in your super bait for Kokanee?
Oh, jeez Louise. How did I... Wow, I got all about the rigging and forgot about the stuffing. Isn't that funny? So, the funny thing is about a super bait is, for Kokanee, everybody likes to use the big scents and all that. So what I like to stuff in mine, and believe it or not, 2.25s have a decent size cavity here to stuff as well. Honestly, folks, they won't be down long enough to worry about how much stuffing you put in these little things. The fish absolutely crush them. So, basically what I like to stuff mine with is one, either the tuna that I mixed my corn up with the other day. If you watch that video, I'll save that tuna, mix it up with a little bit of garlic. And so you got your tuna garlic once again coming out. The other thing that I really like to do is the little salad shrimp that you throw in your salads. I'll chop that up really fine, kind of just almost like a mashed potato texture, and stuff that in there to get a little bit of that shrimp oil oozing out. Plus the little bits and stuff, the little particles will come out and keeps the kokanee chasing your lures. So that's two things that I really like to stuff my baits with. One, oil-packed chicken of the sea tuna fish with a little bit of garlic salt in it. You know, maybe even early in the year you could even add a little bit of extra, you know, maybe some extra krill oil, maybe some krill powder to your tuna. But I usually stick with just that tuna and garlic. So you got one kind of feed response, one aggression response, or the shrimp itself. I'll stuff some of the shrimp in there. Some guys like to stuff them with corn. I really don't. I do not think corn, the smell of corn causes kokanee to strike. I think it's more of the visual perception. So I'm not big in stuffing corn in them. The other thing is with these 2.25s and even the 3.0s, if you really want to get them to spin fast, don't stuff anything in them. You can actually just, you know, squirt them full of your favorite scent. Use dipping sauce, you know, do whatever, you know, leave the little sponge in there. I took this one out of this one. But you can leave the sponge in there, squirt your favorite scent in there, and go with that. You know, I know Frank makes up that god-awful concoction, Cosmic Funk. You could probably put a little bit of that in there. It's going to stay in there a long time, a lot longer than you think. But as I said, the fishing's so good on these, normally it's not down there long enough to wash your scent away. So, just to recap real quick, tuna fish with garlic, oil-packed tuna and garlic, minced up salad shrimp, or just your favorite scent.
Is that drilled hole just in the same spot as the factory hole?
Okay, so the drilled hole that I drilled in the 3.0s, I started in the original hole, right here, and I angled my drill bit, which is a 3/32 drill bit. I angled it from the original hole towards the top of the hook garage, just like this, so you can see where it came out. So it may have started in the original hole out the front of the super bait, but it came out higher up on the bait, which causes less of a kink in your line and makes it spin faster. The 2.25s already have that hole in them coming out the original hole out front, so you don't have to worry about it on the 2.25s. I hope that answers your question.
Do you know if they'll make them also in the other colors?
Yes. So the Brad's 2.25 KCPs, they came out with the original 7, which you see right here. They will have more colors. They wanted to get these into production and get them out. Another thing is why we called it the Kokanee cut plug, or the KCP, or why Brad's did, was because we actually made them to target kokanee, to get rid of that stigma of, you know, the 3.0 being too big. They wanted to come out with something smaller, which as you can see is dramatically smaller, to target kokanee and trout species. The thing is when I ran them for springers, sockeye summer run, and fall run last year, I did just as good. So, just as good as I did with any other one. I mean, there's times where a smaller bait works really well. So yes, they will be coming out with other colors. Whether they stay kokanee specific on those colors, I do not know. I know there are some folks out there that do some awesome custom painting jobs. I believe Kill Our Lures. I hope I didn't mess up your name, bud. He has been doing some awesome custom colors on those for more Chinook, Toho style, you know, coloring. But there will be more colors coming out. If you have any awesome ideas, throw them our way, or have somebody paint them up for you.
Are those just the number 1 UV?
Let's see. Because guess what? They actually are, folks. Look at the orange and the pink on those, how well they pop. So that's, no, put it back on there. So there you go, orange and pink. And then you can here, I'll try to get it to where it doesn't glare too bad.
Yeah,
they absolutely pop. So I think that one right there is going to be hot. I'm going to run it for sure at Chelan this year. I think that's going to crush some landlocked Chinook as well. When I saw that, I had to buy some up. So those are the Dusky number 1s. So, yeah, they are UV.
What is the hole towards the back of the Superbait for?
Okay, so the hole on the back of the Superbait here was part of the original design. It was actually, I'm really not sure what they called it. I've never used it, but I know some folks run their line through it, and they can use a swivel to help hold your hooks back if it's hooked to a swivel. So your swivel would stop back here. Personally, I do not use that, and I never will. I believe it slows down your spin way too much. Maybe some of the ocean-going fisheries where you want a bigger roll, maybe that would come in handy. But for kokanee, in any fishery I do, I ignore that hole in the back. I just don't feel it's needed.
Can you show where to drill a hole on 3.0?
Yes, I will show again where to drill that hole. Right there. Again.
Well, I think it was a late one too.
Okay. Well, just so you guys know, he's having to scroll up through the questions to see what we missed. That's per my direction. He didn't want to ask him while I was going. Again, you start in the original hole, and you angle your drill bit towards the top of the hook garage. So right there's where it comes out, folks. All right. You know you got to scroll back.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Can you show us the factory rigging on the 2.25?
The factory rigging? All right, the factory rigging on the 2.25. Guess who helped him with that one? It's this exact thing. Different beads. They went with a pink UV bead for their factory rigging, and they went with 2 red hooks instead of 1 pink and 1 red, which again, a lot of times, folks, I will run 2 red. But this right here, on a 36-inch leader, 2 hooks tied close together, 7 5mm beads. That right there is the factory rigging on the 2.25. Just different colored beads and 2 red hooks. So that is their factory rigging right there.
What size drill bit?
I used the 3/32 inch. I'm not Tim the Tool Man here, so I'm not sure, but that right there's the drill bit that I use. The 3/32. You don't really need one much bigger or smaller. That's the same size drill bit I use for everything.
For Lake Merwin Kokanee, will they hit that bait?
So Lake Merwin, will they hit this bait? I hate to blow up my good buddy Dean again, the mammoth of a man that tried to stick his hand. Well, no, he did stick his hand in my pocket at Portland and try to swipe one of the 2.25s. And I tell you, you've never really lived until a mountain of a man sticks his ginormous hand in your pocket trying to steal a fishing lure. But I hate to blow up his secret down there, but he does post all the time that he crushes fish on Merwin with the mini cut plug 3.0s. He uses all different colors, but Dean absolutely slays them down there. I don't fish Lake Merwin. I stay up here guiding out of Chelan, fishing Roosevelt for fun, a little bit on Palmer. I have never went anywhere that they didn't work, and I've never heard of anywhere they don't work. So even though Merwin might not have as big a fish, the 3.0 has been proven to work there and proven awesomely. The 2.25 will definitely fish at Merwin.
How big is a new hole you drill, and would that work for a larger plug cut for Stanley?
So again, the drill bit size is a 3/32. I run up to 30-pound leader through that hole with no problem. It still freely slides. And yes, I still rig those just like that for Chinook as well. Again, I'll show that hole one more time. I drill every cut plug super bait I have in the exact same place, right there. And no, I've never had a king break one off or break a super bait with that new hole there. Every time I run a cut plug, I drill that hole in them.
Did you use those on Lake Wenatchee?
I test fished them on Lake Wenatchee, yes. The thing is during the Lake Wenatchee season, I had 2 of these baits, and I was not about to lose one. I did run them with great success. Did they outfish 2 bear red hooks? I cannot say that. I can't say they did. Last year was a good bear hook bite. The year previous, I crushed on a U20 flatfish. I would have loved to have had those in my arsenal on that year with that warmer water. The fish seemed to want bigger baits, especially they were super deep. I was catching like 120 feet deep. Last year, the fish were on the bear hooks. They wanted the bear hooks. They were fresher fish. We didn't really get into that big aggression bite for lures, but they still worked phenomenally up there. I caught a lot of fish on them. Again, though, Lake Wenatchee is one of those weird fisheries, though. Some years they want a hoochie, some years they won't touch a hoochie. Some years they want to fly, some years they won't touch it. Some years they'll eat a super bait or a U20 flatfish, some years they don't. The one consistent up there is your 2 bear red hooks.
And are you still tipping the hooks with corn?
Yes, most definitely. I have caught a few kokanee the last couple years on the 3.0s and the 2.25s with the back of the bait in their mouth, where you could very well make the argument that they came up and hit the super bait. 99% of the time, where the heck is the one I ripped? Right here. 99% of the time, the hooks are all that's in their mouth. So again, the corn or maggots or whatever you want to tip your hooks with is important. That is the focal point for the bite. Okay? I will never say that I think they're biting the super bait. Though I have had times where the whole thing is in their mouth or like this, I do not think the kokanee are actually always striking the super bait. They are still hitting the focal point of the corn on the hooks. So why they work as well as they do without them actually striking them is beyond me. I think it's just a little more attractant, a little more of thinking that something else is going to eat their dinner. So definitely still tip your hooks with whatever bait you would normally use.
And why not use a treble hook?
Okay, so with the treble hooks, I didn't bring any over here to do this video. There are times I will run a treble hook. I run a smaller one. Sometimes I think a treble hook will actually work against you. The fish bites down, it pushes on one side, pops it out. Yes, we can use barb hook or kokanee, so it's not as big of a problem. But I've found that I honestly land more fish on the 2 single hooks. I just think you get better hook penetration. There's a lot more metal to get up, in the shank or, the bend of the hook to get into their mouths. There are times that I will run 2. I hate to kind of say this out loud, but guiding sometimes can be a little frustrating. You don't necessarily always get folks that have fought a lot of fish. And as you know, kokanee have the Houdini act down pat of getting off. So there are times where I will actually take a size 10 treble hook and tie it off the back of this about an inch just to get these hooks in them and have that treble flap around and get them in the head. There's also times where I will just run a treble on the back here and this single, but honestly, your 2 single hooks, most of the time, I find that I land a lot bigger percentage of fish on them than the treble hook. The treble hook, you will sting probably more fish, but I think landing-wise, I think you're just as good with the 2 singles.
Do you change your main line when running Leo flashes with the super bait?
No, I do not. Do I change the leader?
Change your main line.
No. So I think I know what you're asking. I do not change my main line. I still run a main line of, I believe, 12-pound Ultra Green Maxima to my Leo flasher, and then my 15-pound P-line Fluoro Clear leader. There's really no reason for me to change it up with between Leos and Dodgers. I would still like the stiff leader for the Leo, even though it's going in a rotation. You still want to transfer that action back. And in all honesty, with a 36-inch leader, you're not getting any transferred action anyway. You're not going to, unless you're trolling at like 4 miles an hour and you're up on plane pulling a Talbot at Hanford, are you ever going to get any transferred action out of this? Basically, what they're associating the Leo or the Dodgers with out 36 inches in front of your bait is a school of fish and just as an attractant in general. So no, I still run the exact same lines. Just let you know, folks, that if Tyler missed any questions to read off to me, I will go through the post afterwards and try to answer any questions we missed. If you have any more, go ahead and fire them out at me. Also, at the end of this video, I don't know how many of you know this because I got a lot of messages, people saying they missed it. This video will actually pop back up on my Slammin' Salmon Guide Service page after the video, so that if you missed anything, it'll take a few minutes, but it'll pop up, and then you can rewatch it if you missed the beginning, or I was mumbling and stumbling and you didn't catch something. So you can always come back by the page and watch it again.
And then I don't know the question, but 3-barrel swivel ?
You can run a 3-barrel swivel, or chain swivels or such. All I ever run is just a basic barrel swivel, because you got to think. So your Dodger, at least these Dodgers, have a swivel out the front. They've got a connected barrel swivel out the back. And then when you tie it on your leader and you slip that on there, now you've got another barrel swivel. So you've got a whole line of swivels here. If you're running in a lake with a lot of weeds, you might want to run a chain swivel. But other than that, no, I just run a straight up small barrel swivel to my leader.
Will North 40 carry these, or who will have them?
Okay, as I mentioned before, I'm working on Brad's right now to get me a retail list. I would like to have that retail list so that I can tell folks, hey, these stores are going to have them. And then if your store isn't on that list, then you folks can go down and hound on them to get them. I'm not sure if North 40 has an order in. Knowing Matt Featherly up there, he likes to stay ahead of the game. I'm sure if they don't have an order in, he is working on it now. So, but I will touch base with him and see. And again, I'm going to keep on Brad's to try to get a retail list so I can get it out to folks so that either they know where to go buy them or they can hound their local retailers to get them in stock.
Do you ever use the cup plug as the attractor and run a lure behind it?
Oh, that's a good one. I have not done that. The thing is I catch, and not to knock your idea at all, I catch enough fish the way that I do it. I'm not one of those folks that likes to just go out and change things for the sense of changing them. You may find that works 10 times better. What I think you're going to end up running into is you're probably going to run into with a few fish hitting these ahead of you, and you're wondering why you're not hooking them on your lures because they're biting these. Now, would it work? I'm sure it would. It would be an attractor, but I have never done that. I know that there are guys that run them without a Dodger, just the super bait, and do really well that way. The problem is, like somewhere Chelan, where I guide all the time, it's big water, so I want more flash out there so the fish know, so it's kind of the dinner bell ringing.
Have you cut cutthroat on these?
Yes, actually. So the species that I have caught on the 2.25s started off with kokanee. In the same day, we caught a lake trout. We literally dropped it down for like 30 seconds and caught a laker. Those slugs will bite anything. So we caught kokanee, a lake trout, a landlocked chinook, and then we caught cutthroat and a smallmouth bass, all in the first day that we tested these out. As the season went, we my clients and myself kept catching fish with them, all different species. So yes, I have caught cutthroat. Thing is, with a cutthroat, I do a lot of flatlining. You may want to add a little bit of weight, even just a quarter ounce or something, get it back 100 feet, so it'll stay a little bit under the water. Honestly, though, with the shallow water we're catching them in, you probably wouldn't have to. I've also went up walleye fishing with these and did really well on the black and the silver. I'm not a walleye guy by any means, and I really don't have a clue what I'm doing walleye fishing, but we did catch fish on them, so I know they work for those as well.
Oh, where do you get the UV? Where do you get the UV beads you're using?
So I get the Radical Glow UV beads from Jared Johnson at Rocky Mountain Tackle. I believe he has them on their website at www.rockymountaintackle.com. I order them directly from him. They have a ton of different colors. I have not seen them in any local retail shops around the Wenatchee area. Sportsman's Warehouse carries a lot of his stuff, so they may have them. But otherwise, I just order them offline from him. Let me see if they have a website on their package. Those of you that know me know I don't know how to read very well. Well, there it is right there. www.radicalglow.com. So if you can read that or write it down, it will be on the video. www.radicalglow.com. Sorry for my son twitching around. He can't get it to focus. So once again, radicalglow.com for the beads.
Will they have any at the Wenatchee show this weekend?
Have any what? I ask a question to your question. Will they have any? I'm not sure what you're asking. They will not have any of the 2.25 Kokanee cut plugs. Those will not be out until mid to late March. Though Brad's is working really hard on it. I'm sure Hooked on Toys will have some of the 3.0 cut plugs in stock. But other than that, that's all I'm really knowing what you're asking. Next question. My son's back there laughing, so somebody's being a smart aleck again. Probably that Frank Ballinger guy.
Can you use it on Wenatchee for sockeye?
Yes, I already answered that one time. You can. Again, it depends on the year whether it's going to be your top producer or whether it's going to be, an outstanding thing. I caught fish on it last year when it was just a bare hook year. I did way better on just the 2 bare red hooks, but I did do well on this. I didn't run it a whole lot because I didn't want to lose the 2 that I had at the time, the prototype models. So yes, they do work. They work really well. But again, any given year can be different at that lake, as we all know.
Do you know anyone that runs them on Stevens?
I do not know any. Well, the 2.25 I do not believe has been ran on Stevens yet. Very few of us had these. Most of us from Eastern Washington were the ones running them. I know that there are guys that run the 3.0s on Stevens and have done really well with them. Some of those guys may or may not want to be named, so I'll just keep quiet. But I know the 3.0s do really well too. What you got to understand, folks, is a lot of the gear that works, Kokanee or Kokanee, period. They may be color preference. Lake may see that one color works better than others. But again, Lake Chelan, everybody says it's a pink and orange lake, yet I know guys that run nothing but chartreuse up there and crush fish all the time. So Stevens, it's a green lake and it's this. You know what? Use what you're confident with. And it'll work. The 3.0s I know work really well on Stevens. The only lake that I've never got a report off of is American Lake. But as we know, those guys are pretty tight-lipped and pretty protective of their home waters. So I have never gotten a report of them on American Lake. But again, I'm pretty confident, and not just to act like I'm the greatest or anything, but I'm confident that I can take them to any body of water with Kokanee and crush them with them.
Will these keep the cutthroat off your line?
Well, we all know that the cutthroat at Chelan are a rather difficult species to catch. No, nothing will keep the cutthroat off of your line, short of just not going fishing. I actually caught a lot of cutthroat with them last year, especially out open trolling, for the Kokanee. The good thing is, if you're complaining about catching cutthroat, you're complaining about catching fish, and I don't hear those complaints. I know that we all want just the Kokanee, but the thing is, I have a blast with either one. Catching a fish is catching a fish. So you know what? Throw back your cutthroat if you need be. Be careful with them. Throw them back and get right back in there. At the size they are right now, they're not harassing the Kokanee, so get right back out there and get them again.
Do you know the MAMP number on the hooks you use?
Manufacturer number, son?
It doesn't say manufacturer.
What's it say?
MANF.
Yeah, that would be manufacturer, I would think.
I don't know.
The manufacturer number on the hook. No, I don't. I know they're just Gamakatsu size 4 octopus hooks. I know a lot of folks like to use the sickle hooks from some other company I can't pronounce. Some folks like to use the drop shot hooks. I stick with what got me here, and that's the Gamakatsu octopus size 4s. Some folks will say you need bigger. Again, to him his own. They can use whatever they want. I like the size 4s.
When you were running the Bear 2 singles, do you ever run UV hooks?
No, that's getting off on a completely different subject, but the hooks that I run, for these, the pink ones are UV, so they do light up. The red ones are not. At Lake Wenatchee, I do not run UV hooks. I just run 2 Bear Reds, which are not UV. Again, UV hooks may be the latest thing. I don't really feel that I can improve on 24 sockeye in 2 hours or 30 in 3 hours. So I don't. I just run the 2 single red 3/0 Gamakatsu octopus hooks there. Here I run size 4 red or pink. Usually a mix of the 2 Gamakatsu octopus hooks.
Do you ever run them clean without a dodger or just a ball troll?
I think I know what you're asking. I do not. I always run them with a dodger because, again, I'm fishing big water on Chelan, and so I want more attractant to my gear. I know of a lot of people that do run them without a dodger and do great. Personally, me, I will always run them with a Dodger 36-inch leader just because I want that added attraction in the big waters. If you're fishing shallower or a smaller lake or pond, maybe even, I'd say even Palmer, that's dark water, so you'd want a Dodger there. But, no, I always run mine with a Dodger. But I know people that don't and do really well.
I know there's more questions. Do you run flash on your release cables?
No, I do not Don Talbot my downriggers. Some folks really believe in that. Running all that gobs of flash. I've seen people do it at Chelan. I've seen people do it at Roosevelt, which makes no sense. And I've seen people do it Brewster for sockeye, Lake Wenatchee for sockeye. Again, you don't need all that. You don't need all that extra flash and draw. You know, it might help somebody out, but in my own personal opinion, I fish right next to those people with just a single Dodger, and I don't see anybody putting on a clinic around me. So I would say you don't need all that extra hoopla on your downrigger ball. You really don't. If you do and it works, hey, congratulations. I'm glad it works. And, you know, it may work for you. I just haven't found the need to do that.
Does color matter with the super bait?
Gosh. I like pink, orange, purple. And I've also completely fell in love with these Duskies, so I got to quit molesting that thing. I know the black with the pink works really well. All these worked good. The reds, I have not, that's the thing. I have not found a super bait that they will not hit. I've seen guys post photos up with nothing but mini Mountain Dews, mini Seahawks, mini watermelon colors, and catching gobs of nice kokanee on those colors. Yet, you know, we all kind of do as we're told, and up at Chelan, I like to run either the pink, the orange, the orange, or the Hollywood, which is pink and orange. I am going to work with the guy at Killer Lures to come up with some customs that I really like. But you know, also with a purple, but with some changes in the patterns. I think it's more about patterns and colors. You know, I've actually done really good on, you'll never guess this, but moon jelly tape on my super baits. So that's something that I'm going to work on as well. But no, I've never really seen a dramatic color difference in the super baits of what they will and will not hit kokanee wise.
Oh, would it work for rainbows?
You know what? I've done really good. A couple years ago on Park Lake, I took my boys up there trolling the 3.0 super baits, and we crushed rainbows on them, trolling them super fast, like 2.5 miles an hour. And flatlining them, running them like 5 feet below the surface. Did really good at Fish Lake, fishing for, you know, just decent little, you know, 12, 14-inch stockers. The 2.25s will work phenomenal for rainbows. Rainbows are a predatory fish. They are out there looking to eat other fish. So, yes, they will work for rainbows. I just have not had a chance to really run them for them. Now on Chelan, we don't have near as many rainbows unless it's a big native. Now that they're stocking the cutthroat in there. But yeah, they should work.
Oh, did you know that you can spray beads with the UV Blast Clearcoat?
So, the UV Blast Clearcoat, when I first started guiding, I was using that a lot on my Dodgers, some of my lures. What I found with it is, personally, I do not like the smell of it. If I don't spray it on the day before and then drive to Chelan to get some of that odor off, I mean, to me it smells like fingernail polish remover. I do not like that odor on my lures, so I kind of quit using it. But I used to have great success with it, unless if I applied it and then dropped my gear, I seem to get a lot less hits. But yeah, you can spray that all over everything. I also don't really like the thought of having it on my line. If I spray it on the line, again, it smells like a harsh chemical. And so whether it will make the line brittle or not, I don't know. I know if you do spray it on your Dodgers, on your super baits, or on your beads, and you leave those in the sunlight at all, it will completely bleed the color out of whatever you have. I mean, it really absorbs the UV light, so.
Oh, what are the top colors you like to use?
Again, sometimes it's lake specific for, you know, considering we're kind of talking kokanee. Orange and pink and purple. Purple, of course, being my at depth color. I say, you know, at Chelan, if I'm dropping down, you know, 100 feet and lower, I like a lot of purples. Last color they can see. But pinks and oranges and the fluorescent bright pinks and oranges, And once again, any combination of the two, pink and orange and some white. Basically, those are the colors that I like to run at Chelan, Roosevelt, Palmer, any of the lakes that I've fished.
And you will have a store list too, right? People keep asking us.
I'm working on the store list. Hopefully the folks at Brad's will work with me here and realize that we're not trying to, bombard the retailers with questions, but just trying to let the customers know where they can run out and grab them when they get there. So I'm going to keep working on them, folks, and hopefully I can get some information to you. Again, it would be nice, if anybody from Brad's is going to watch this or listen to this, it would be great for all the customers to know where they can go get them, or so that they can go to their retailer and hound them to order them as well if they're not on the list. So I'll work on that and try to get back to you, folks.
Oh, okay. For the last thing, do you store these rigged or unrigged? And if rigged, how?
So here's the thing. I really don't go through, a lot of. I don't go through what I like. Okay, I'm kind of mumbling my words here. I keep a lot of tied leaders. Okay, so I don't really rig a lot like this. What I'll do is I'll just have the 2-hook leader tied, wrapped up and stored in a box, because they get chafed a lot. I mean, when you're catching anywhere between 20 to 50 kokanee a day, add in another, 10 to 25 cutthroat, and maybe a chinook in there every now and then, you're going to chafe a lot of the leaders. So I don't like to use up a bunch of material and keep them rigged like this, but what I will do is I'll rig up a lot of the 2-hook riggings. So all I have to do is slap the beads on, slap either the super bait I've been using that's working, or switch to another one. I can just slip them on the hook, tie it on, and go. You can do it either way, but personally, I just like to keep the leaders tied. I mean, y'all seen how long it took me to tie them. I'm not exactly the fastest. I got fat fingers and bad eyes, so I like to keep the 2-hook riggings tied up, and then I can throw the beads and super bait on it when I'm ready to put it out of the boat.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
Have you asked?
Yeah, there's no one.
Is there anybody still in the room?
There's 63.
Oh, wow. Still 63 folks in here.
There was 100 earlier, for a long time.
Woo!
It was 120.
Woohoo! People like me!
That was a lot.
If there's no more questions, folks, we've been on this for about an hour now. So if there's no other questions, we can leave it at that. My son's smiling again, so somebody came in with another obnoxious host.
Any idea on the price of the 2.5?
I honestly feel they're going to be probably, the 2-packs will probably be the same price as the mini cut plug 3.0. I don't want to get quoted on prices. A lot of stores have different prices, a few cents here or there. So I don't want to quote the price on that. That's another thing that I could look into and let you know. I think they will either be the same price as the mini cut 3.0 or even just a hair lower for the 2-packs. And then the tied one's probably the same thing, probably a little bit less or the same.
What's your go-to bait?
My go-to bait, like for kokanee? I hope that's what you're asking. My go-to bait for kokanee. So last year at the Something Catchy Derby, I literally ran 4 3-point. Well, I can actually tell you now. I ran 2 of the 2.25s. I ran 2 of the Hollywoods because that's what we had. So I ran 2 of those, and I ran 2 of the pink 3.0s. Not this color, but 2 of those. So if that's what asking what my go-to lure is, it would definitely be the super baits. If I had to have money on the line, yeah. I love my Frank's flies. Numbers-wise, I catch a ton of fish on Frank's flies. Assassin spinners from Rocky Mountain Tackle, and billfish squids, especially like later in May. Oh, the wiggle hoochies, as some call them, billfish squids. It's hard to beat those. Sasson spinners with the small profile baits. But anytime early in the year, I like a bigger profile. So if I had to pick one Kokanee lure for the rest of my life, it would probably be the 2.25 cut plug or even a 3.0, just for size and quantity. And again, not to get anybody all pissy, I step on my boat, you'll see the gear that I run.
How do you like the group NorCal, Fish Whisperers, and the positive impact it's having on Northern California region?
I kind of was hoping California just wouldn't get brought up. Who was that asked that?
Ross Corbett.
I have no idea anything about Northern California. So,
alright.
Next question.
Thought you didn't use squids.
He would. Bill Fish Squids, Wiggle Hoochies. You'll see plenty of photos of them. Check them out.
And can you do a brief overview? Just jump on.
Who was that?
Troy Whitney.
So, brief overview of how I rig these. Real quick before I get out of here. Again, 2 size 4 Gamakatsu octopus hooks. Tied super close. Try to keep them in opposite directions, a pink and a red. Okay. This is for the 2.25. 7 5mm Radical Glow UV beads in alternating colors for contrast. A Brad Superbait 2.25 rigged through the top hole near the back for a faster spin. Slid down on top of it just like that. Can you see the beads on the bait really well? Yeah. Okay, just like that with the hook at the back of the bait. 36-inch, 15-pound P-line fluoro clear leader tied to a barrel swivel and attached to your favorite Dodger. So that's pretty much the overview of how I rig them. Definitely still tip the hooks with corn or the fake maggots if you wish. Stuff them with either tuna fish and garlic salt or crushed up salad shrimp or just your favorite scent as well.
And then one last question.
He's smiling again, so we'll see what this has.
How deep?
How deep? Balls deep, folks.
And I think that's all the questions.
Alrighty, folks. Hey, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to try to do another one of these next week. Feel free to jump on my page, throw out some ideas of any of your burning questions. I'll be back here probably next week, keeping it sexy for y'all. Alrighty, I'll talk to you later, and this is me signing out.